Alright. So this is the one that Gingy sent me. Let's see here. What this is. Oh, this one's really nice. It even has it. Okay, this one's really, really nice. Okay. And they're color-coded. Bro, they're color-coded. Whoever did this one's a goddamn legend. Amazing. You can rename the tiers if you want. Happily Sherpa this encounter. I look forward to this encounter. I think this encounter is fun. I think this encounter needs minor adjustments, and I think this encounter needs new identity. No, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. I don't want to mess up whoever made this. Whoever made this deserves it. Like, can I just do that? Can I do that? Like, honestly, this. I wish all of them were like this. I've looked at some of them. Some of them are just hot garbage. Like, let me. Was it? Oh fuck! Was it this one? Yeah, like it's no text. Like if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what you're looking at. Like, and that's what a lot of them look like. Like they got nothing here, man. I only do the best content for my streamers. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love this. Love this. Put Olive Garden in the bottom slot? No, not Olive Garden. Just most of Garden. Not all of Garden. Unfortunately, I cannot attest for any of the D1 stuff. I think D1 stops at Akis, right? I'm assuming these go in order from when they were introduced. So anything that's Akis and above, I think Akis is War of the Machine. Can I make a D1 tier? Can I make a new tier? I don't want to edit the tier. I want to make
that rat stole a coin.
Oh. No, this back down. How do I? You've ran Vogue and King's Fall? Yeah, but I don't know how they are in one. Presentation mode? What is that? Oh! Oh, this is... Oh! Oh my! Okay. Well, if it isn't a D2 version, there isn't a D2 version in that list. Oh, is there not? Oh yeah, I guess there's not. So I will be going off on their D2 counterpart. I will be going on their D2 counterpart. I would also have to do it for the same... I'll have to do the same for Vault of Glass because there isn't a D2 variant of Vault of Glass on here either. So Wrath of the Machine and... Is it only Wrath? I think it's only Wrath, right? Because this is Vogue. Oh no, because I didn't do I've never been in Crota. So Wrath and Crota are the only ones that I'm not going to be able to do. So green and red. Click on the cog and in the option create a new tier below. Oh. Okay, not. I want to change the color of it. This one's gonna be bright blue. Stands out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I've not done. I'm just gonna swoop these in here to get them out of the way. Cause I do not. Those are gone. Alright. Let's see here. I guess we'll just go. Well, we'll start from the top and work our way to the bottom. Here, let me... Maybe some different music. What kind of music do you want? Some music that won't get me in trouble. How about some, like, Mario music? Nintendo music? Head empty music? Head Nintendo, head empty. Let me go back to, like, my OG track list. Here. Alright. A Fortnite rap? No, I need something that won't get me DMCA'd. Alright. Leave it with that. I don't know if that's... I don't think that's too loud. I think that should be fine. Alrighty, starting with Vlog, which, by the way, on Reset today, it's a Vlog week. No Vlog. The ruins. The door. Opening the door. I think it's fine. It's nothing that I would say anything is wrong with it. There's nothing great about it. It's the door. It's just, you know, vibing. First set of Templar, where he's just being a dick. Also, he's just vibing. In fact, Templar's just vibe. Like, there's nothing... There's nothing that can be commented on. The whole first half of Vault of Glass is just like going on a tour. Door's okay when it works? What do you mean when it works? It's a fucking door. There's no way to mess that up. You just don't like the Minotaur touch the plate. Gorgons, however. Gorgons. These little bleep looping little bitches. Gorgons. Gorgons? I'm at an impasse, right? On one hand, I look forward to the stupid atrocity of either we're here for 5 minutes or we're here for 30 hours. But on the other hand, sometimes they bleep bloop and it don't do too good. But realistically, I can't say that I look forward to the Gorgon. In fact, it's the least encounter in Bog that I look forward to. Actually, you know what? Here. We're gonna put another one. Oop, hold on. I keep fucking this up. Let me do this. Add a row below. This is gonna be... I think they already... Red, orange... See, they already have all the colors here, and I can't make it a different color. I look forward... Wait, hold on. Let me match the capitalization. I look forward to this encounter... I look forward to this encounter the least. It's Gorgons. When running Vogue, I don't want to run Gorgon. It is such a problem. Or at least it has the potential to be a problem. And I don't like the fact that it has a potential to be a problem because it's not an encounter. Jumping puzzle. It's just... It literally... It's whatever it be. It's whatever it be. Hot potato. Hot potato. Honestly, Vogue is just... Vogue is just... It's as beeline as you can get a dungeon or a raid, I think. There's nothing, when I go into VOG, there's nothing that I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going in the VOG today. Or, fuck, I don't want to go in the VOG today. Like, VOG doesn't have that. It's just VOG. It's just time. VOG is as mid as it can be. Alright. Moving on to King's Fall. Door is just door. Actually, you know what? I think it could use some adjustments. Here's why, right? The door for King's Fall, I wish if they could make one adjustment, right? Just one tiny little adjustment. I wish that they would either display the timer of the nodes all the time, or just make it where the timer starts whenever the first person picks up. The fact that the timer is on a constant rotation regardless if you have it in your hand or not, and then you clear your ads and you go pick up the ball and it's like, oh fuck, I only have 10 seconds left. That sucks. And then you're wasting time because you're waiting for the 10 seconds to go down because that's not enough time for you and your partner to do that. Like, I wish there was a more consistent battle with the timer. Door needs more ads? I mean, I think it could... I don't know, man. I saw people who died to the phalanxes in normal mode. I wouldn't say that the ads are a problem, but I do wish the timer could be tweaked at some degree. I don't like the fact that it's a you pick it up and what happens happens type deal. And sometimes the timer doesn't even pop up on your screen. You'll get halfway down the hallway with the ball and it won't tell you jack shit. I think it could use some tweaking. TBH. The ships. Is fine. It's a jumping puzzle. It's not a difficult jumping puzzle. In fact, first timers going in there and trying to learn the path, the ships, I find intuitive. I like that. I like the fact that it's not just a jumping puzzle of jump to this bar and make sure you don't miss. It's a, you need to make sure you're on the right taxi or you're gonna run into traffic. I like that. I personally find that very entertaining. I don't mind the ships. Do not mind the ships. I think they are a encounter. Flatline. Easy. Okay. No tweaks. Just... In fact, throw a couple of snipers in there. Throw a couple of hobgoblins. Fuck them. Totems. It's advanced version of Leapfrog? Absolutely. Totems. Here's the thing, right? I look forward to this encounter. And I'm gonna explain why. I look forward to totems specifically because if you have a run, right? You have the run. And your totem teams are running like a well-oiled machine. Nobody's getting flatlined and you are in a constant movement. Like there's no pause. You go to totem, you bank, you grab, the totem, the bank, you grab. If you're in a constant motion like that and nobody trips, it is such a happy dopamine. Like that right there is just like, damn, that was smooth. Like that's something that you can feel an accomplishment on. And if you're doing the challenge, and you have to do the infinite 8 and everybody runs smoothly and nobody trips, that right there, that's some high fives afterwards. That's we did that encounter, right? So I look forward to it. It sucks when people trip up, and it takes a little longer, and you don't get the major dopamine feeling. However, there's a chance. There's a chance, and if you can get it, it's amazing. I feel like Totems of War Priest is dependent on the group you're with. Very, very true. Very true. War Priest is admittedly the least excited I am for King's Fall at any point at any given time that I go in there. It's my least encounter to deal with in King's Fall. I shouldn't have to explain why. Chunky Man, I will happily Sherpa through this encounter. One, it's a very easy encounter. Two, I think the encounter is fucking hilarious. I think this is a fun encounter. I like the mechanics. I like that it takes one individual to wipe the whole team. I think it's really funny. And he's just a chunky guy. Like, and you can damage him with his own abilities. Like, there's just... He's a funny encounter. He's just funny. Not to be mixed up with it's a fun encounter, because it's not like a harsh encounter. But it's a funny encounter. He's just vibing. Honestly, we are the assholes in this encounter. He's just a dude, man. And his white mechanic's pretty cool. Like, honestly, if I were to put negative points on Big Chungus here, the only negative points he would get is the first week when he was brought into D2, the white mechanic would burn out your headphones. And that was not great. But aside from that, like, this dude has no negatives. Like, that's all there has to be said. I will happily Sherpa Chunky Chungus, and I'll even let everybody take turns taking the buff if they want to. Dick Wall. It's just a puzzle. It's a little bit more annoying because it fights back. But it's just a puzzle. I think the fact that you can get rocket propelled by the dick wall at Mach speed and die to environmental damage if you step your pinky a little too far forward is kind of funny. Like, I've had my fair share of annoyances with this wall. But realistically speaking, mechanically and aesthetically, there's nothing wrong with this wall. It's just there. Daughters... Dick wall is just dick wall, and like... Here's the thing, right? Like... So here, Daughters is the warm-up to Oryx, right? And I look forward to Oryx. I do enjoy Oryx. Oryx is one of those things where it requires all 6 people to know what they're doing, and I like encounters like that. There's not necessarily an ad clear, dedicated role in Oryx. And not in Daughters either. Like, Daughters and Oryx are essentially the same thing, except, like, honestly, they're the same thing. Let's fix this. They're the same thing. They're the same encounter. They're the same fucking encounter. And I have a very hard bias to any encounter that requires everybody to have at least 2 brain cells, or has the chance to have 2 brain cells, because one, it's I like the idea that if you're in a fucking raid with more people, that more people have to put in the work and you don't just solo the raid for 5 individuals, you feel? Duh! Okay, maybe B tier. Please, I will happily make you look. Listen. Hold on, I keep hitting the wrong fucking button. Here. Actually, can I don't know how to make... How do I make a little... Zero... Here, okay. S plus. There we go. Keyblade! On Wednesday! How have you been? How have both of you been? Thank you so kindly. Thank you for the raid. Blessed. Too much work? It's okay, thank you. Look, listen. Jen, hello! Look, we'll make S tier, right? We'll make S tier. Now there's nothing quite like these are tiers that I would absolutely teach on a whim. I would happily Sherpa them. And then we have S tier. S tier is like doll approved content, right? We haven't gotten there yet. I'm slowly rebuilding my stream. Stream 7. Ah, I see. My S tier is just jam-packed with parry clips.
Welcome raiders to the cult. To your left we have the cookies and punk, and to your right we have the Markor. Don't go to the right ever.
Alright. Here. We're on a groove, so we're gonna continue. But yeah, daughters and orcs are the same encounter. I don't mind teaching them. I love things that run like a well-oiled machine, and I like teaching things where people aren't just, okay, you're ad clear, just do whatever the fuck you want, just make sure nobody dies. Like, I personally do not like encounters that just have access weight. Like, you have 6 people there, give six responsibilities. Don't make it wasteful. That's why people out there two-manning and soloing shit. Alright, we are diving back to the void of time that is locked up into the vault. And it is the Leviathan. Hello, Kagu. How are you, wife? Alright, Royal Pools. I enjoyed this encounter. Leviathan needs a massive rework. I agree. I agree that the mechanics of the Leviathan would not hold up in a 2023 standard. However, I am digging deep into the back of my head because I only ran so much of the Leviathan before it got vaulted. So I didn't get to run it as much as a lot of other people did. But the Royal Pools were, again, 6 people had to do things. You had your ad clears in mid to rotate out, and your people on the chains to spawn the big guys, then go get buffed, shoot the chandelier, come back to chain duty, etc. It's a well-oiled machine, and I fucking thrive for that shit. The Royal Pools? I looked forward to it. I thought it was a pretty interesting encounter, and I'm glad that I was able to learn it before it fucking disappeared off into the ether. The Pleasure Gardens needs a new identity. I did not like the garden. Did not like the garden. The fucking dogs were bullshit. Pulls is totem, but with 4 plates. It is, isn't it? It is. Garden was ass. That encounter sucks. I've done the encounter. I've done the challenges on that encounter. Doesn't mean I like it anymore. 1, it needs a new identity, completely. Rename it something other than Pleasure Garden, I'm begging. The dogs pathing and hitbox and, like, able to see you around corner box, just garbage. Did not like the Pleasure Garden, just that 0. Are you playing games today, or is it just talkie? It depends on if Bungie lets me log in. Because everybody and their mother is going to be rushing to hop online once the maintenance is over to do Guardian games. I don't know if I want to do Guardian games today, or if I want to do something else. I have Guardian games on the repertoire just in case I am able to log on. But, we don't know yet. The Gauntlet is the best part of the raid. The Gauntlet? I enjoyed the Gauntlet. I wish they would bring the Gauntlet back. They could bring the Gauntlet back as a solo duty. Which they did. They did bring it back in Season of the Haunted. If you did Season of the Haunted and you did Crow's Nightmare, you were put through the Gauntlet. You were put through a two-man gauntlet. That's what you were put into. Except your fate was not determined by the outside world, which is lucky for you. Your fate was determined by your own well-doing inside the gauntlet. But for anyone who has not had the pleasure of running the gauntlet officially via the Leviathan, your survivability was based on your partner, who was outside the gauntlet, who had to open the doors for you, or you got your ass fried. I was always partnered with Kagu. Kagu only let me die sometimes. And then I accidentally let her die sometimes. Because it took us a hot minute to learn how to shoot the arrows. But I've been into, this is how long ago it was. Like, I went into the Leviathan with Kagu. It was me, Kagu, Eka. Me, Kagu, Eka, Tonic, Kashil. I don't know who our sixth was. Who was our sixth? Might have been Pat. I can't remember. But that's when Eka and Kagu used to raid with me. Dogs would have been a great encounter in the low poly game where everything's all boxy and easy to tell where the eye lines are. No, but Gauntlet was fun. Again, I would absolutely, if they brought this back as a single, like, solo encounter, like, bring back the menagerie. Bring back the menagerie. Gauntlet was fun. Gauntlet was good. Callus, I look forward to his encounter the least because he was boring. Like, Callus's thing was boring. Like, I appreciate that, like, everyone kinda has a job. Like, you're split into 3 and 3. Some of you were inside of his head, and some of you were outside clearing ads to clear the pads. But all in all, it was a very boring encounter. Callus had the spectacle factor and not much else. Yeah, like, it... DPS test dummy, he wasn't much of a boss. Like, it was when you went to go fight Callus and you didn't know, it's like, oh my god, you've been a robot the whole time. Like, that's the most you're gonna get out of that encounter. Spoiler, by the way, and now you don't get that out of that encounter anyway. So what you fight is actually a clone. Robot clone. There's like hundreds of them. Is the first time you actually meet Callus in Lightfall? Is that the first time you meet him face to face? Like, not robot clone wise? Yeah, so every time you ever see Callus before Lightfall, it's never Callus. Once upon a time, Kagu had more hours in D2 than Perry. Now she's playing with sweaty peepees instead. Only sometimes. Only sometimes. Now, it's Leviathan. This is Spire of Stars. I can't remember the name of this one. Eater of Worlds, thank you, thank you. I was trying to remember, like, what was the name of this one? Reactor Room? I will happily Sherpa. I have a video that I can throw back and bring up after we do the tier list of this, of our first time doing Reactor Room. Because Cashil and Tonic were trying to teach us how to do Reactor Room, and it's it's so fucking funny. It was so fucking funny. Like, honestly, this encounter both sucked, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Deeper is the jumping puzzle. It's not even a jumping puzzle. It's you're falling, and you have to do your best Sonic impression to go through all the hoops in order to progress. I didn't do this encounter enough. Like, I think Eater of Worlds is literally the one that I did the least. I think I did Eater of Worlds once. I did that encounter once. A ham sandwich? Hello. Welcome. I can't really say much for the jumping puzzle from here, because it's a fall down and hope you get it type deal. Like, there's nothing bad about it. There's nothing great about it. Like, it's just another fucking jumping puzzle. Breaking the barrier was a fun encounter. Breaking the barrier is when you were split up into three groups of two. You had your defender plates, and then you had your person that was going around cracking the skulls and doing the shields. Now, what I liked about the barrier is you have Big Vex Hydra. And he would have different colored crystals on his shield. So you had an arc platform, a void platform, and a solar platform. And you needed to make sure you matched the platform buff skull with taking out the barrier. So, like, if it was too solar, then your void friend would have to hop to the solar platform and kill a solar ad to get the solar buff, while Solar Man took the solar buff as well. And it was a whole thing where everyone was engaged. Like, yeah, you had your defense / ad clear, and then you had your skull runner, but everybody was engaged. Like, if your ad clear got overran on the platform while your skull person's on the other side of the fucking arena, it could very well cause a wipe. So everybody was engaged. It was a very good encounter, I think. Very balanced. I enjoyed it. I really wish they kept doing raid layers every now and then. Would have been cool to get a couple of short raid likes in other locations. It would have been. Fortunately, I don't think we'll ever see that kind of work. 1, people bitch too much, and 2, these were realistically more mechanically involved than our current stuff, because 2023 is the apply to casual fanbase year, where even the casual content is too hard and people still won't shut the fuck up. Where's King's Fall at? King's Fall is kind of all over the place. A lot of it is up in the top, though. King's Fall is the dark red, so bloop, 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 bloop. Argos. After you did all the shield breaking, you phase into what is essentially the boss fight. So breaking the barrier in Argos, where essentially it's like Daughters and Oryx, it taught you the mechanic, and now you apply the mechanic. So it's just... I feel like they just belong in the same degree. It's the same encounter with one extra step. Which is essentially what Daughters and Oryx is what Break the Barrier and Argos are. They're the same encounter with an extra step. And I think the ability to fluently move in the Argos encounter as a Hydra and having weak points behind his head was really fucking cool. I think that was a really cool way to, like, weaken a Hydra boss versus the fucking annoying ass shields and like glassway shit that we have now. Elita Stato died so Elita Sperry could live. No, 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 no. Look, man, when people are bitching the Bungie saying hero stuff is too hard, maybe you shouldn't be playing a shooter. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that you're essentially bad at the game. I'm just saying that maybe it's not the game for you. If the casual content is hard for you, it is not the game for you. A lot of the stuff in Dark Souls that I've done is the casual play of Dark Souls. I am dog shit at Dark Souls. But, that's that. Which has us move on into Spire of Stars. Are you ready for this one? We're gonna speedrun this one. You ready? Fuck Spire of Stars. Fuck that raid. There's nothing fun about that raid. Spire of Stars mechanically suffers so Garden of Salvation can look better. Like, I don't even want to dig into this detail. I don't even want to dig into this. Spire of Stars sucks ass. I thought this was the Final Fantasy rating table when I joined because the Repel pick looks like Moogle's far from. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing the Final Fantasy one later this week. We're gonna be listening and talking about their music, and it's gonna be a longer stream because I am absolutely gonna be blasting music that whole time. Remember doing Spire on day one, never again? Dude. Spire is not only is it just not a fun raid mechanically, like mechanically, the only intuitive thing in Spire is shooting up a guardian to be able to read the ships, right? Shooting someone up to read the ships to know where you're supposed to dunk, right? That was the intuitive part of the raid. Here's the catch. Regardless if you get it correct or not, sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes it didn't give you the symbols at all. And if you made it through all the symbol hopping, if you made it that far and got to the actual boss fight, there's a 50-50 chance he would lock out. He would soft lock himself so you could not do DPS to him, regardless of how you did the structure. The balls that you throw to activate his DPS phase sometimes just wouldn't hit him at all. You could be standing right in front of him and throw it, and it'll go halfway fucking 5 meters out and not hit the fucking boss. So now you have a timer ticking where you're supposed to throw these to stop the timer, but oh, Bill missed because he was standing 5 feet away. And then you wipe and you do it all again! Dude, I hate Garden. I hate Garden. You guys know how much I hate Garden. But Spire? Spire? You can't pay me $300 to go back into Spire. It was awful. It was fucking terrible. Spire sucks ass, man. The only good thing about Spire was the emote. What about $301? Dude, look, listen, dollar makes all the difference. Just saying. Don't forget to mention the Spire Cabal drop pods that would kill you 20 feet away from where they land. Yes, dude! Oh, God. Cinco, hello, welcome back. I'd pay to see a full-on mid-raid, Harry Rant's, Spire? God. No. No. If they ever unvault it and everybody's just like, I need a Spire clear, I'm gonna be like, oh well, go to LFG. Good luck. This raid was ass on launch and honestly the worst Destiny raid ever made. I'd agree. I would agree. Cause there's a few things that hold up in Garden, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But there's nothing beneficial in Spire at all. If it's raids, Garden's the worst? No. No, Spire is absolutely the worst. When are they just gonna make a drop pod a full-on raid mechanic? Like drop them on the boss to take down the shield? Oh, if you had to time it to... Oh my god, could you imagine? I'd be down for it. I'd be down for it. Let's use the drop pods against these motherfuckers. See, here's the thing. In Lightfall, you know how you guys can pick up the beacons that the Scions drop? And they'll target you with missiles? And the reason you pick up the thing is to go make them bomb their own communication tower. That's what you're supposed to do on the Amuna, by the way. Let me damage environments and enemies with that shit. It's bullshit that they don't take damage from that. Let me run in with a flag during a public event and nuke the boss of the public event because I have the magical stick. It's offensive that I can't. I'm just gonna start clickbaiting people when this comes back to say that you're doing it. Absolutely not. 301 or bust. I'm not going back in the Spire. Alright. D2, here we go. Like official D2. Leviathan is because it's vaulted. It's in Gay Baby Jail. Official D2 content. Kali! In Last Wish. I like the door mechanic. I think she's a really interesting mechanic. Again, everybody is involved. I enjoy this mechanic. I know a lot of people, if you go into Last Wish and you do the first encounter, there's a lot of people who cheese the first encounter because there's a way to like trip her up even without doing all 6 paths. If the first person she teleports to, you can essentially break her. I can't remember how you break her. I've seen a lot of people do it before. Just do the encounter. I think the door mechanic's really fucking cool. I enjoy her encounter, like doing it the regular way. I really wish we got another Last Wish level complexity raid, but I know that will likely never happen again. Nope. People would never clear. They wouldn't get their 48-hour clear and they'll be like, Bungie, it was too hard. I like Kali. Hers is very interesting. It's honestly, I like Last Wish. I do. I really like Last Wish, and I wish I could run Last Wish more. However, we'll get to why we don't in a minute. I'll delete all my Destiny data before I do Spire again. Or use the drop pods to spawn in some of Kaido's cabal. Guardians make their own ads. Yo! I'm for this. Look, man, someone give Keyblade Bungie's email. I feel like these are very important tactics. You put Golg that high? He's just a dude hanging out. I think his encounter's funny as shit. I'll happily Sherpa Chungus. I think he's one of the funniest fucking encounters in this goddamn game. The only bad thing in Last Wish is the fucking puzzle platforming? Nah. We'll talk about why Last Wish is shit in a minute. Shirochi. Shirochi, I look forward to the least. It's not that it's a difficult encounter, but it's a very long encounter and it has multiple pieces running. Shirochi is... You have a lot of moving parts. And I like moving parts. I do. I very much like moving parts. But when bringing people to do said moving parts, it is the point at which I look to the least, because it's such a very small room for error. There's not a lot of grace in the Shirochi experience. For someone who's never done Last Wish before, if you've only done Shirochi as a checkpoint for Catalyst or whatever, Shirochi is a back and forth verdict of clearing ads, attack the witch, doing a puzzle, not a jumping puzzle, but a legit fucking puzzle, then doing a brief jumping exercise, and then rinse repeating that 3 times over. So it's the ads, it's the witch, it's the puzzle, it's the jumping. It's the ads, it's the witch, it's the puzzle, it's the jumping. And you loop again 3 times. It's 3 times of this. And the puzzle is where it trips up a lot of people. And it's not that it's a difficult thing to understand or how it is. It's just, out of the Last Wish experience, unless you're doing Ribbon officially, if you're doing Ribbon the way Ribbon is meant to be handled, this encounter alone can take an hour. So it's not hard, it's just annoying. It's an inconvenient factor. It's not even a hard encounter, it's a lot of moving parts and the room for error is just so tiny. Because between DPSing the witch and doing the puzzles and hoping that everyone can make the jump on rotating balls to go forward, if you don't do the puzzle in time to reset your timer, you wipe anyway, because if the timer wipes, then the fucking witch wipes you. So you're extremely pressed for time, and the tension is very high. And it's not even a fun tension. It's a tedious tension. Like, I wouldn't even go to as far as to say that the encounter itself is fun. It's just overall a tedious encounter. Morgoth! He's just a dude. He's just a dude. There's nothing great, there's nothing bad about it. He's a DPS check, if anything else. He has a mechanic that has to be dealt in order to proc his DPS phase, or you will wipe. But the mechanic itself is... Eat orb. Eat orb, don't die to stacks. That's it. The mechanic is... do it in your sleep, and his fight itself is a DPS check. If you don't one phase this dude, you don't kill him. Like, that's just how the encounter works. But he's just a guy. Golg and Morg are both just chill dudes in the back of the class who are chill as long as you don't fuck with his vibe. Exactly. Like, there's no... I would say with Golg and Morg, the ogres in Pit of Heresy are more of a threat than these 2 dudes. They're just trying to exist. The vault. I will happily Sherpa the vault. And I know a lot of people don't like Last Wish because of the vault. I love the vault. I love the design aesthetically. I love the design mechanically. I fucking love the vault encounter. It's such an intricate design. And it's so fucking cool. But we will never, ever see encounters like that in D2 again. Because I'm not gonna lie, it can be considered a complicated mechanic. If you don't have a shot caller who knows all the callouts, it is a difficult mechanic. But one shot caller can run the entire vault. If you have one person giving directions, that's it. That's all it takes. And it's such a cool fucking room. It's so cool. I love the vault. I will happily teach people how to do the vault mechanic, even though I know 50-50 chance anyone I teach will be able to 50-50 retain the information given to be able to do the vault immediately after that again. But it's such a good one. Riven. Riven I look forward the least. Here's why. I Perry Gaming, have never done Riven the official way. I have never had someone teach me how to properly do Riven. And I know her mechanic is as complicated as the vault. And it takes multiple people. It's not just one shot caller at this point. She's probably twice as difficult as the vault by itself in order to kill Riven officially. However, I never learned. I never found people who were willing to learn, because you can just cheese Riven at this point. We do Riven in one phase sittings now. We find out what the meta of the season is, and we go in and we fucking, as long as you don't pluck her eyeball, it doesn't matter what you do, because you one phase Riven. I look forward to her the least, because it's a go in, one and done situation. There's no mechanic to it. It's a boss burn. Because people don't need to do the mechanic anymore, because Bungie won't fix it. And Bungie's acknowledged this. Bungie has acknowledged this, and Bungie has stated that they don't plan on fixing it. Couldn't they just give her an HP buff or something to make the mechanics necessary? No. No, because if they affect her HP in any degree, you're by association affecting DPS output and meta builds and stuff like that, which you're essentially, if you buff something up to that degree, it means the weapon percentile rates are not working on the HP increase, because at that point you're just making a bullet sponge, you're not affecting the gameplay in any degree, and it's not going to have any effect on the mechanic. You're just making a bullet sponge. It doesn't solve the problem at all. And one of the things that Riven, regardless if you do it correctly or not, one of the keynotes of Riven is her claw and her mouth are two completely different hitboxes with two completely different percentile measures. Crits on her hand and crits in her mouth work completely differently from each other, which is why the DPS done, depending on what strats you use, does not add up to the appropriate damage that the Guardian deals. It's two completely different hitboxes. Her claw and her mouth work completely differently based on crit damage and perk damage. So the numbers, when you get a death screen in Riven, and it's like, you did 100k, and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense because I did 200k, but I did this, but my buddy over here racked up like 500k and he's using dog shit weapons. It's because the metrics don't, like, the raid itself for Riven is such a coded mess that it's just, it doesn't work that way. And that's why when people go to farm Riven, they do whatever overbuilt meta strat is available to just go ahead and one and done it. Like, it's not worth the time to number crunch and figure it out because they work so differently from each other. I feel like if I ever learned how to do Riven correctly, if I ever actually took the time to do Riven correctly, I feel like she would also be up there with I would happily Sherpa this encounter. I think if I were able to mechanically involve everyone with her mechanic, I think as like the Bolt, it would be a very fun experience for me personally. Frustrating to most, but I find in certain difficulties that make sense, I enjoy difficult encounters. I enjoy difficult encounters that have thought process behind them on how it's supposed to work. I do not enjoy difficult encounters that are difficult just to be difficult. Like, if you just throw in an immense amount of continuous ads and sponge them up to be bullet sponges, that's not difficult content for me. It's just annoying. The Final Fantasy Raider mindset. Honestly, it's the MMO mindset. If you give me something that is mechanically structured, and it has a lot of moving parts, but the moving parts make sense, I enjoy it. Fucking love it. Love that shit. If you give me an encounter, like Day 1 Caretaker, where he's difficult just because he has a bazillion HP, that is not difficult. That is not a difficulty scaling. It's just annoying. I wonder if you can get enough people who don't know the encounter to go in and just figure it out together. I'd be absolutely down for something like that. I know the basics. Like, it's been a very, very long time since I've actually watched a Riven video. Like, the base amount of knowledge that I have for Riven is whoever is... You have two teams of three. One's on blue side, one's on red side. Whatever side she's not on has the Taken buff. And in the Taken buff, if you go up in the pillar that's in the room, it's like a seeing eyeglass or something, but only the person that has the Taken buff can see through the seeing eyeglass, I think. And you're supposed to relay the stuff in the seeing eyeglass to the other team. And the other team uses that to tell which eyes you can and cannot shoot? I might be completely wrong here, but I think that's what I remember out of like the years ago that I watched a video on. It's a back and forth communication that the Taken reads, sends it to the other team reads and translates it, and then the team that it started with is the ones who shoot the eyes. Because I think it's 4 sets, because she has 12 eyes. 6 and 6. And every phase, you can shoot 4 of them. I think. And you do that 3 times until all of her eyes are busted. And then you DPS a mouth. I think. I can't fucking remember. But it's a very communication heavy fight. I know that for a fact. I don't like difficult encounters just to be difficult. Reborn is just gonna put you through the ringer. Dude, I am Pokemon illiterate. I already know that game's gonna be hell. Communication, we can barely tell each other if we're going left or right. Look, listen! Blind Riven? Is Blind Riven what makes Kagu come back to Destiny 2? Alright. Heart of Riven can go fuck off. Can go fuck off. The Heart of Riven is a fun encounter. When it works. Hold on. It's carousel shit. When it works. Capital letters. When it works. The problem with escorting the heart, problem with this whole fucking encounter, and it's literally just this encounter, right? It's literally just this encounter. It's this fucking encounter. Is 9 out of 10 chance when you pick up the heart, everything goes to fuck immediately. Immediately. Either Riven eats the heart herself, and you wipe. The person doesn't get a timer, and you wipe. Too many people are standing too close to it, and it takes your whole fucking crew, and you wipe. The person escorting the heart doesn't go into the fucking abyss, so you have no one there to collect the lights, so no one's there to reset your timer, so you wipe. And you know, fuck it. Sometimes Riven just decides to say, you want to see something funny? And you just all implode anyway. Out of the 1 in 10 chances when this encounter works, it's a one and done. It's a one and done, you escort the heart, it's that easy. But 9 times out of 10, this fucking encounter breaks. And then it proceeds to break the party, one by one. I hate this encounter so much. I hate this. They don't have to fix Riven. You know what? Leave Riven broken. I don't give a fuck. But please, 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 code her to where she doesn't eat the heart. There's no reason that she should eat the heart. Keep the heart outside. The heart doesn't belong in the Abyss No-No Square. Just keep the fucking heart out of the Abyss No-No Square. Because at least then you have a chance. You have a chance to save it, right? Like, you have a chance to get from point A to point B to finish the goddamn raid. There is no amount of loadout, there's no amount of communication, there's no amount of RNG that can save you running this fucking encounter. And that's why if I have people who still need 1k voices, we will farm you 10 keys. 10 keys bare minimum. I will farm you 10 keys because you get the key from killing Riven. And then we do 1 heart walk. 1. And you better hope it doesn't glitch. Fuck this encounter. This encounter is the one reason I hate doing Last Wish. It's literally this. I don't care if we do a full Last Wish. I don't care if we do a checkpoint Last Wish. This, getting people their in loot for completing the fucking raid is the most irritating RNG bullshit. I hate it. I hate the Heart Walk more than I hate Last Boss Garden. That's a lie. I probably hate them equally. But it's so frustrating because Last Wish is such a good raid. It's such a good fucking raid. It's pretty. It's aesthetically pleasing. You get different voice lines. You can mod it. It's the only fucking raid in the game that you can mod with the Last Wish wall. You could have RNG, Zavala, Ikora, Cade, or whatever Riven decides to narrate the adventure with you for. You can put Drifter in there. You can put Halo mods in there with fucking confetti for all your kills. It's such a cool raid. And it upsets me so much when I cannot have people complete start to finish this fucking raid because Riven eats the heart. Ugh. Anyway, back to the carousel music. Shattered Throne. It doesn't even include the first encounter. It doesn't even include the first encounter. It goes straight to the jumping puzzle, which, again, is a jumping puzzle. I don't like the ogre. I don't like this encounter at all. 1, I'm bad at it. 2, I've had instances where the witches don't drop the orb to get the buff to be able to start DPS phase. The orb that you're supposed to dunk. every other time I go in here, the wizard that I kill, it's always me. I don't know why it's always me. But the wizard doesn't drop the fucking orb. So we have to wait for the wizard to respawn and hope we don't die in between and all this other stuff. Like, it's just a very annoying fight for me personally. The opening encounter, the one where you have to go and read off all of the symbols, like you go to bird or you go to double-headed snake or infinity snake and stuff like that. I enjoy that encounter. I enjoy the first encounter, but it's not on here. Is Shattered Throne the one where we had the bonding moment with Eka? I think the bonding moment was in Pit. To save our asses, but in reality it made it worse. I can't remember if that might have been Shattered Throne or Pit. I know we spent a lot of time in Pit. Because Pit is the one where we all three of us went in there blind. It's the one with the pictures. It is the one with the pictures. It might have been Shattered Throne. I don't mind the first encounter. The second encounter is just jumping. Third encounter is kind of blah. I think the last encounter could use a rework. I think it could use some minor adjustments because right now it's just kill the 3 knights simultaneously, burn boss. There's nothing to this encounter these days. Kill the 3 dudes and kill boss. Like the knights aren't even a threat anymore. It's just a get out, get done encounter. And I think either they could, I wouldn't say change the ad density because it has a very fair ad density with all the thrall that are in it. But maybe if they reworked it, they would need to update the perk pool. I mean, probably. But just, I don't run Shattered Throne because I find it to be very boring. Shattered Throne in itself is a very boring dungeon to me. So it's just, there's not a lot going on here. I miss crying, raising friend, running away to heal, a friend dies again, cry more, raise friend again. I mean, that was any, let's be real here, that's any thing we do with Eka. Alright, fucking Insurrection. I only ever did this, I have only ever done the first part of this raid twice. And I'll be real with you. It's not... I was put on ad duty, so I did not actually get to learn. I did not get to learn this encounter. So while this is a D2 encounter, I'm putting it here. I did not get to learn the hollow map. I was a ad clear / escort. And my whole thing was just surviving. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand the callouts. I was just following someone else and my whole thing was keeping them alive. I don't know how this mechanic works. I do not know how the hollow map encounter works. So I can't say anything about it. Because I only ever did it twice, and the first time I went in there, I did 1 round, we wiped, and I left because I got upset. The sparrow racing part, I look forward to the least. I didn't like it. Because again, I'm very bad at it. I remember I burned up a lot. I don't think I ever made it to the end alive. I was dead a lot. A lot. Out of the 2 times I remember doing this, I never made it to the end. Insurrection Prime 1 and 2. go hand in hand, just like daughter and orcs. I did not mind farming this guy, because I had to farm him for Anarchy before they vaulted him. I did not mind it in the least. I thought he was a very fun encounter. Like, he wasn't difficult, he wasn't annoying, he was just fun. Like, having a team, you had your cap team. So you had people at C, people at A, people at B, and then it was literally just ad control while you had your snipers taking out his crit points and bringing him down for you to DPS him correctly. He had the buff, which was the cap rotation. People would have the C buff, the A buff, the P buff, and you would just stand in a little triangle to not intercept each other's buffs, because if you intercepted anyone else's buff other than your partner, I think you explode? The buffs conflict each other, so you would die. So you couldn't touch anyone or get near anyone who had a different buff than you did, which is fine. Like, that's an encounter that's very, 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 very common in Final Fantasy, so that's just second nature to me at this point. OG Phoenix, T11 Phoenix is what taught me this mechanic very fluently. I enjoyed it. I absolutely, if he was still in here and farmable for Anarchy instead of spoils, I'd go in there and teach it, no problem. I have nothing against it. Your damage was dog shit if they didn't match. I thought he also put a tick buff on you that ticked your HP. Because I thought it was lethal if you matched with someone else. But again, I've only ever done the raid start to finish twice, and then Anarchy I think took me 12 kills, which was just boss farm checkpoint. I didn't mind him though. I thought he was pretty cool. And before the area that you do that fight in, before it became the Elixir headquarters, it was just a cool map. Crown of Sorrow. Crown of Sorrow. I only remember Galron. I don't even remember. And I know I didn't like Galron. I only ever did Crown of Sorrow once. And I can't remember anything of it. I remember the treasure room or something. That was Galron. Because I was partnered with Kagu for Galron. Because I remember it was waiting for the Scion to spawn, timing the hit with the Scion, and not getting cleaved by this big bitch. Remember using Outbreak on the final boss? It was an Outbreak meta. It was Outbreak Prime meta. It had something to do with Scions and not getting cleaved. Because there's the boss running around, and he can go through the divisions, because there's 3 divisions, so you had 3 teams of 2 in each division. Because he divided the arena into 3 platforms. And I was with Kagu. I think Tonic and Cashel were on team, and I can't remember who our other team was. But it was waiting on the Scion, not getting thwacked by the boss running around, but each triangle had a larger vision of the boss in the center, like outside of the arena, who would cleave onto the platform, which would one-shot you. And that's all I remember. I don't remember anything else about that raid. So I put it in the I do not know here. This is no longer even D1, it's just I do not know. Because I can't remember. Garden. Garden. Wanna hear a joke? Sure. Tell me your secrets. So let's be real here. Regular fish. Opening the door, regular fish, fucking frog. Frogger. Hop 1, hop 2. It's whatever. In fact, I don't like it that much, but I think this encounter is fine. Here, let me put it down there. The encounter's fine. And then even baseball. Baseball's fine. Baseball's fine. And you know what? Fuck it. I look forward to the fish. I like the fish encounter. I like the fish encounter. But fuck that guy. All of my disgust and annoyance with Garden is literally this stupid bitch here. It's literally him. The only thing I want from this raid is the pulse rifle, and I can never get the desire to run for it. Realistically, if someone said, hey, you want to run Garden? And there's no divinity involved? If we run Garden and there's no divinity involved, I'll run Garden. I'll go. You want to try and farm for a weapon or something? I'll fucking go. I'll go do it. But the moment you tell me divinity's involved and I have to go conquer the sanctified mind and hope he's not a stupid cunt about it, that's where bribery comes in. Realistically, it's very much the same dilemma I have with Last Wish. Garden, mechanically, is pretty fucking cool. Not even gonna lie. The mechanic there, I love the mechanics in there. Aesthetically beautiful. Very pleasing. Very, very pretty. But the last boss. Though. Garden is best raid? No. Not best raid. But if they could make it to where the Sanctified Mind doesn't glitch his tether system. If his tether system wasn't so goddamn wonky, it would solve so many more problems. But no, the moment you go in there, and you're running for divinity, and you get all the way to the last boss, and you realize that the instance is bugged because his tether mechanic is not working, and you have to run it from start to finish again because that's how divinity works. My very first Garden run was 8.5 hours because we ran divinity, because Cashow's like, if you're running Garden, we're gonna get you div. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? He's like, it's a really good gun, and you need the quest, because I'm not taking you on your first turn without it. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that makes sense. A one and done type thing, right? 8.5 hours later, I got my divinity. Pit of Heresy! I will happily Sherpa Pit of Heresy with the minus of... Actually, I like Pit of Heresy. I like Pit of Heresy. I think it is the perfect blend of casual meets introductory raid level dungeon. You have 2 friends, and you don't have 3 more friends to go run a raid. But you want an okay, casual, laid back, but not brain-numbing experience. I like Pit of Heresy. I think Pit of Heresy was done very, very well. Aesthetically, it's kind of gross, and the ogres can be a little bit overwhelming. But it's overall a good dungeon. It's a very good dungeon. I like Pit. Like, there's nothing out of there that I would complain about. I like that just sums it up. I like Pit of Heresy. Prophecy, however. Prophecy. I'm not... The first and second encounter are fine. They're just encounters. They're as basic, go in and do as you please. And the Hexadrone is kind of butts. But it's also ran by Tolan. And nobody likes Tolan. It's not a difficult encounter to grasp how the Hexadrone works. It's just annoying. And the vast amount of times that you have to rotate the room until you get to the boss can be very dizzying. It makes me dizzy. I don't like the Dead Sea because it reminds me of Rainbow Road. And I'm also really bad at driving on it. So consider that a very personal preference, but fuck Rainbow Road. And then the big guy at the end is pretty chill. He's a cool dude. According to Cyber, he's got some sweet kicks. And I think he's just a fun encounter. He's just fun. Alright. Here we go. Here we go. Deep Stone Crypt, are you ready? Surviving the blizzard, I look forward to this encounter. I look forward into it because there's still people who don't know how to get through that blizzard, and that's very funny to me. I like being at the end and waiting and just seeing people constantly guardian down, and they'll be like 3 platforms back and don't know how to traverse the snow. It's not on them. It's not at all on them. It's just very funny to me. Because when Deep Stone launched, I spent like 2 hours here to learn the pathing so I would know. So I wouldn't be the one being laughed at. I spent 2 hours doing this shit, and I did the get your bikes all at the end to get the sparrow. I did that by myself. I did it by myself. I guided all the pikes there. I did it. Out of the entirety of Deepstone Crypt, I look forward to the first encounter the least, just because it's baby encounter. When you have to do the challenge, you have to take the full DPS rotation, which is kind of boring, kind of sucks. This one is just, it's opening the door part 2. Like, I know it's part of the raid. It does hold lore accurate reasons of being part of the raid. But it just doesn't feel like raid material. It feels like more of a puzzle than it does a raid encounter. And like, yeah, there's a boss, but, you know. It's the least that I look forward to, because it can either go very, very quick, or it goes absurdly slow. There's no in-between. Either you one and done it, or you take 2 to 3 damage phases for it. Atrax. I am a fan of how Aatrox encounter work. And again, it's one of those things where it can either go very quickly or very slowly, but regardless, her encounter is very easy to teach. And I don't find her difficult at all once you know the mechanic. I know she was the make or break when day 1 happened. But I like everything about that. I like everything about this encounter, except for when Gingy's fat ass takes up 2 of the elevator spaces and leaves me to die. This is the only jumping puzzle you'll ever see S tier. It's the only jumping puzzle you'll ever see S tier. No elaboration needed. The descent. And honestly, Taniks. I enjoy Deepstone. I like Deepstone Crypt a lot. I was obsessed with this raid and endlessly Sherpa'd this raid when it first came out because I lived in it. Before I lived in Rolk's bathroom, I lived in Taniks's second pair of legs. So it's an easy raid to run when it comes to teaching. It's definitely one of the easier raids to run. The 3 easiest raids to teach people who are just getting into raids would definitely be between Bog, Deepstone, and Root of Nightmares. But they're just all good fun. There's nothing entirely out of it that I don't like. They're selling the old Easter event shaders. Oh. The Descent First Time Challenge. Oh, this is, whatchamacallit? Oh my god. Why am I struggling with this? Gallahorn. Help! Grasp! Grasp of Avarice! Grasp of Avarice. Okay, holy fuck. I am not a fan. I am not a big fan of Grasp. I can't even remember what the gangplank is. Oh, gangplank is just the door. It's just the door. It's a door. It's just a door. It's with all the other doors. It's just a door. I look forward to the Ogre the least. I don't enjoy the Ogre. I know there's ways to one-shot him, but I'm not a fan of the Ogre. The bomb race is fun. I mean, not fun. It's fine. It's fine. But I am a bias of being really bad at the sparrow parts. And someone else is always ahead of me that gets the little keys anyway. So, I mean, it's just an encounter for me. It's a stride for me, because someone else is always doing the mechanic here. I know where a handful of the buttons are, but I just don't. I just don't. I personally don't like the shield shutdown one. I think it could use a tweak to make it a little less feeling like you're being dragged by the ear. I liked it until I stayed there for a day to solo Flawless. Understood. Understandable even. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the servitor encounter. To me, it's just a nuisance. Like, if you don't have someone who's well skating or someone that's like strand grasping just to make it quicker, it's just annoying. Do not enjoy. And last boss is kind of eh. Like, there's nothing spectacular about him. He's not hard. I think, honestly, the boss isn't even hard. Like, the captain, the shank is more... The shank and the sniper that are on the platform with him, the two ads that he summons, are more of an inconvenience than he is. So essentially, it's like you're fighting 3 bosses and not 1 boss. But the collecting treasure and burning him down is kind of cool, I guess. Like, he's not the most exciting thing in the world, but he is an encounter in the game, so he's just here. He's just fine. He is fine. Val, the disciple... I think opening the door for Val could be... I think it could use some tweaks. I think it could use a little something to make it not... You need people to be able to be awake by time you get to the encounter, right? And I feel like this is just a slow enough slog where you have your raid team, and you risk your raid team falling asleep between starting the raid and getting to the raid. In fact, because this exists on a whole nother mission, aka preservation, I feel like they could just take it out. They could take it out of the raid at this point. They could just take it away. Secret chest be damned, they can just take it away. Start us off at the door. Start us off where we load in, it gives us the information for the red border chest, and we go on our merry way. Either that or put it on ×2 speed. Like, make it a literal bus ride where we can just sit there and shoot ads while we're driving. We don't need to stop and collect knowledge. First encounter, I enjoy very much. It was a very fun learning experience. I do enjoy it. I like Val. I think I like Val a lot. I do enjoy Val a lot. I love the challenge that Val brings, and as someone who grew up with a lot of like puzzles and picture games, it was very easy for me to kind of shift into it, but I know it's not as easy for some people to shift into. But I like the idea of having the callouts and it being the raid itself is a narrative. I thought that was really cool. Aside from all the sharp, acute angles. Rolk's building schemes, and it's not even Rolk's building schemes at this point, it's the witness. He likes very sharp edges, and I'm not about that, but hey. I look forward to Caretaker the least, but that's all in a matter of being there for 30 hours. We talked about him earlier, I don't have to go back into any, like, conversation about it. Exhibition I enjoy as an encounter. I like that everyone is involved, and I mean everyone. Everyone has to know what every relic does, and I think that's pretty jazzy. Like the fact that everyone has to know what they're doing, because by the time you get to the end of it, everybody has a job. No ands, ifs, or buts. No ad clear available. You gotta have something to do something. I like Expedition because you fail fast. It's also a very fast encounter, regardless if you complete it or not. Either you do it very fast or you fail it very fast. But I think it's a pretty cool encounter. I really, really like it. And Rolk, I love Rolk. Rolk's encounter is pretty fucking cool. Honestly, I really enjoy Rolk's encounter. Rolk's fight is just so goddamn good. Just so goddamn good. If only he'd dropped me the pulse rifle. Fucking love Rolk's battle. I like the mechanics. I like what's required. The aesthetic. The music. The two-part fight. The fucking the bong noise that his shield makes. The noise that his shield makes is just everything about this. There's not a negative about this fight. There's not a negative about this fight. I fucking love Rourke's fight so much. So fucking much. And his animations. His animations are so good. Love how our DPS phase is also his DPS phase. Yes! Yeah, I've done 51 clears and still no pulls. Shut up. But I love Val Disciple. I love running that raid. I love teaching that raid. It can be a little bit frustrating at points, but I love that raid. I love that raid so goddamn much. Out of every raid that's in the game right now, Val is still my favorite. Last Wish was my favorite for a while, but Val has made it to the first place standing, putting Last Wish into second place. Duality. That was your first day one? Yeah, that was the first one, is the first raid I ever done for day one challenge. I don't like duality. I do not like duality at all. I think it's the worst dungeon in the game. Mechanically, it's a handful. It's a glitched nightmare. And it's just not fun. Kaido's fight is okay. Like, honestly, I don't even look forward to fighting Kaido. And honestly, Kaido's fight could use some tweaks regardless, because there's just... It's not a fun fight. Duality is not a fun dungeon for me. I do not like duality. I think it had a lot of potential, but the ways things were handled were just so irksome. The only thing I can tolerate is literally doing Kaido's fight, and even Kaido's fight can be a buggy mess. Watcher? Can I multi-click all these? I can't, okay. Watcher is an encounter. There's nothing in Spire of the Watcher that I necessarily do not like. There's nothing in it that I am absolutely, fuck yeah, I'll go run Spire. It's a dungeon. It's cool. I like the idea of it doesn't reflect heavily on DPS meta, and it has puzzles in it. The wire connection 1.1 to 1.5 wiring tutorials. I think that was an interesting way to handle a good chunk of the dungeon. It's just here. It just vibes. I don't openly go there. DMs. Oh yeah. I mean, we already knew that was gonna happen. Oh. Watcher will make you a master electrician by the end of it. Yeah, you get a little certification sticky note in the mail after you complete it. But no, it's just a dungeon. Like, there's no pros or cons, and I mean, I guess it has some of the better glamour out there. Like, everybody's all willy-nilly about the cowboy outfit and stuff, so it does get glamour points. It did bring us some very interesting armor. But as far as mechanically and aesthetically, it's very yellow. It is on Mars. It's very sepia tone-esque. So nothing stays standout-ish for me. And then we have Fruit of Nightmares. Cataclysm, aka Connect the Dots. It's just that. It's connect the dots with a tormentor ever so often. It's nothing extravagant. It's just connect the dots. And then Scission is Connect the Dots Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Instead of going in a line, you're zigzagging. It's just that. Planet Room. Fucking love Planet Room. I think Planet Room is aesthetically pleasing, it's very pretty, and I do enjoy the mechanic. And I like that the challenge is a reverse Uno card on the mechanic. I thought that was very crafty. I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was gonna trip us up a lot, but no, it's actually very easy. But I like this. I really like this encounter. I like the way this encounter works. The only thing I don't like about this encounter is that the boss's stomping radius is 500 miles away from his body. It's the only downside of this encounter. I'll say if I ever hear Perry count again, I'll fighting lose it. What is a 4? I do not know what 4 is. And then Nezarec. Nezarec is... he's an okay encounter. I look forward to it because he's just some fun. He's just some memeing fun. And even on master content, I've gotten to the point where it's just he's just memeing fun. He can be a little bit of a dickbag if he spawns somewhere you don't want him to be when you do the DPS phase, like on the opposite side or behind a rock, and he blocks your DPS from the environmental. Like, honestly, that's not even Nezarec's fault at this point. It's the fucking plants that are everywhere. But, he's not bad. It's not a bad encounter. I don't mind him. Between all these raids, the ones that I will willingly, like, opt myself and throw myself over into traffic for, I'll run Ron and I'll run Val. I love Ron, love Val. And Last Wish is literally, I'm bitter because I can't get people to start from start to finish without worrying that we're gonna be stuck on the last encounter for multiple hours. That's literally it. That's it. Like, ugh. You just want to see Legman and dad abs? It's not even about, like, I don't even find Nezarec to be, like, Nezarec is okay, like, as a villain. Rogue? Fucking love Rogue. I love Rogue's design. I love his ego. I love everything about Rogue. I think he's one of the coolest fucking characters in the goddamn game. I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back. I hope that all of the theory crafting, that there will be retribution in which we have to fight Rolk, Nezarec, and Callus again. Keeping my fingers crossed for it. But I believe that is all of them. So our doll approved S+ encounters are obviously Deepstone Lullaby, because I don't want to get any hate mail after this. But it's also it's an interesting jumping puzzle, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. The whole thing about being in space and it being muffled and still having enemies and stuff like that is very, very nice. And then I fucking love Rolk's battlefield, period. And we just have everything else. We have the highest thing in Garden, being that I look forward to this encounter, because I'm always on Team Fish. I don't do Team Gambit, but I don't think I would struggle with Team Gambit either. But I don't mind following the fish around. The fish around is pretty good. Okay. And Vogue is just the most mid out of everything. That's this week. It's just Vogue. 20-minute adventure. And the Pleasure Gardens, the entirety of Spire, last boss, last encounter and last wish, last encounter garden, Rainbow Road, and the entirety of Duality minus Keitel. It's just the no parry, no touch. I think I did pretty okay. I don't think I upset too many people. I think my logic is pretty sound with this layout. Right? We will always have to fight Nezarec since he'll never die as long as people think about him, if I remember right. His lore's a little bit wonky, but he is essentially the boogeyman. So the boogeyman always exists if people believe that the boogeyman exists. So, yes and no. I'm taking first gaze. Who's excited for the Flawless Vlog on Saturday? You mean the Flawless Vlog attempt? The attempt to be made where we get absolutely ambushed by a fucking Gorgon and lose and start from the beginning all over again? I'm so excited.